how do I build an AI agent? Because from what you've just told me, it's a very complex system. It seems to be a very complex system, which has a lot of data input. But I don't know, I don't have a framework to understand what kind of data input should I give. And, while other creators also speak about agents, they also speak about giving access to multiple things within the company to the agent so that the agent can make better decisions. Because, after we had our first conversation, I actually tried making an agent through Perplexity. And bro, it was a nightmare. I spent 8 hours making that agent and it was just so complex because on the outside it seems pretty simple. Just tell Perplexity to achieve a certain outcome and go ahead and do it. And for me, it was as simple as study the transcript of my podcast and tell me where should I show motion graphics and help me storyboard it. It was a very, very simple task, but even then it was very, very difficult. And that's when I realized that making an agent is not so easy, which is again one of the reasons why we're having this conversation. Because had I not tried this, I would have been like, okay, end the podcast, great, let me just go and build agents. But I know it's very, very complicated. So walk me through the first principles of how should I build an effective AI agent all the way to deployment.
Agents are the ones who optimize things for goals. They are relentless employees who would just focus on goals and achieve it for you. But for them to achieve that goal, I would want you to think of 3 parameters. So an agent can act and an agent should do the reasoning. An agent needs to have memory. These are the 3 aspects that you would want an agent to do. So act, reason and memory.
Act, reason and memory.
That's right.
Is that sequence important?
No, it's not a sequence, but think of these as components which are important for making an agent. For example, you want a creative agent. Now, a creative agent needs to have reasoning of a similar creative director in an agency. Or when you're creating an agent, which is basically doing the job of direction for you, then you would want the entire reasoning and ability to act like how a director would be on a set. And there you have to really go deep to be able to then tell the agent to act like one. Now, if you mix that with a director / a finance or a producer, or let's say if you mix that with a scientist, now that's where the agent starts losing context, or that's when it becomes the entire memory starts becoming overloaded. And that's where you see this whole terms of hallucination, or let's say it is not able to reason the way you'd want, it will start losing context. And hence, first answer, the first question that you should ask yourself is this going to be doing a specialist role? And if it is, then am I giving it enough reasoning context, or am I giving it enough action and hence the goal for which it is supposed to be designing the way it will operate? Lastly, what kind of memory that I can configure for it? There are broadly 3 kinds of memories that one can think of: semantic memory, the episodic memory, and the working memory. You would have seen while you would have been trying some prompts that you would have entered something, gone back, and then started a new chat, and then you realize that, okay, it's not picking from where you left. And it's like explaining everything that you've done. That's perhaps where you have not created an agent who does not have a episodic memory.
I want to go back and ask you a question. See, if the agent is basically a superhuman, if I give all the access possible to that agent, now whether that's about my balance sheet or my edits, it shouldn't matter, right? It has all the memory. It has the memory to be a creative director. It has the memory to be a CFO. It has the memory to be my chartered accountant. Now, if it has all the memory, if I give it all the tasks, why will it not be able to do it?
At the end of the day, agents also have certain constraints in which you want them to operate. Otherwise, the way they wire these information and the way they are able to, they will find an answer. They will just be desperate in giving you an answer. And there, the wiring of these information may not be as accurate as one would want it when you are expecting an agent to operate like just a specialist.
Why? It's an agent, right? It has the same memory. For example, let's say there are 2 agents. पहले एजेंट के पास मार्केटिंग का सारा इन्फॉर्मेशन है, दूसरे एजेंट के पास मार्केटिंग प्लस अकाउंटिंग का सारा इन्फॉर्मेशन है. Why will agent B not operate as good as agent A?
When you're optimizing it to a particular goal, now if it is a conflicting goal, the agent will pick one of the 2 to be able to go and do it. And if it fits into the kind of output that it is expected to deliver, it will pick it up and do it.
But why? It is a super agent, no? उसके पास तो unlimited
Yeah,
capability होना
but it
चाहिए.
is just designed to giving you outputs. So for it, it is all about, has it given an output that you had asked it to give? And that is where, and that is the difference between agents and humans, where agent lacks common sense.
But why? How does it lack common sense?
Look, AI agents are what? Like, if you go deeper, they are basically identifying or recognizing a pattern, and basis that pattern, they will try and give you something which matches closest to that pattern that they would have probably known, or the kind of data that you would have fed in for it to come to a point. That is exactly what this AI agent will also do for you. It'll try and recognize certain patterns and bring in something that is closest to that pattern. Now there are conflicting patterns. One pattern which is basically, I don't know, if you're operating like an accountant versus operating like a creative director, they're two different things. For it to then know what is more obvious or simple, it may not gauge that, because it still operates in certain contours that you would have defined for the agent to work.
But this is a human constraint, no? For example, let's say Kedar is the CMO of a company.
Yeah.
No, I don't expect Kedar to know the finances of the company because Kedar is the CMO. But this is a human constraint. But if Kedar were to be turned into an agent, an actual agent with AI capabilities, Kedar has become a super agent. Now, this agent, backed with all the capability, should be able to do the job of a CFO also and the CMO also.
It's just that the complexity in which one could put out the entire prompt for it is where the limitation happens. Because look, an agent will always give you an output, like I said. Now, how predictable that output is, and the predictability of the output is defined by how constraints are put for an agent. The moment you increase the scope of the agent, then the playing ground for the agent is very, very huge, and hence the predictability of the output is perhaps lesser, as opposed to the moment you constrain an agent to work like just a creative director. So when you are packing multiple agents together, the ability to debug and know how a multi-system agent works often comes from knowing who is taking decision how. And if you're packing two decisions in one place, or two different kind of deep functional expertise in one, it could get muddled up for you when you're building a complex multi-agent system. As you would operate as only one, then still okay. But for bigger enterprise agents, or when you're trying to bring in a lot more competitive advantage, it's going to come when you're going to put a lot more agents together. So it's like a team of 5 working together, and if 5 have 10 different kinds of capabilities, for you to then decode and say, where is the output coming from and what do I need to fix into my system for it to do, I think that's where it gets complex. It's less of a limitation of an agent, more of a predictability of output, and for humans to finally go back and debug and fix which part of the agent needs a fix. I think that's the crux of it. Again, stems from human capability to be able to control what the agents will end up doing. So define what is the specialist role that you would want your agent to do, and that is an important choice to have. Like, whenever you think of building it, do you want multiple agents, do you want one agent? And I think that's a very, very important decision to make.
If this clip gave you value, please subscribe to this channel so that we can keep bringing you game-changing business insights.